is right before Operation Iraqi Freedom?
It was the start of it. It was like 2 days before we actually went across the
Landed.
border and went in country.
So is this like the first official mission of...
As it would turn out, there was about 30 or so. There were a couple of Navy divers, Iraqi Navy divers. There were some Iraqi Republican Guard guys, some Saddam Fedayeen guys, which is like his mafia, his group of hitmen or whatever, and then a handful of workers. And they did have explosives. They weren't rigged. And the only reason we interrogated them afterwards, and the reason why they didn't blow it when we got on board, is because they had nowhere to go, and they're like, we're not going to kill ourselves.
Oh, so you didn't kill everyone before coming on board? You
We didn't
snipe them?
No. In fact, we managed to get on board and captured all of them without killing any of them.
You captured all 16, you captured all 30, didn't kill any of them.
Right, yeah. The only shots we fired were myself and my buddy Shane breaching doors with a shotgun, which we shot.
What, they just white towel it? Like, what?
No, I mean, it wasn't even that. It was that we managed to get on board fast enough to where, most of them were sleeping. There were a couple that were awake that we just took them completely off guard. There was basically zero resistance or almost none. And at that point, by the time we got on board and swept through and caught most of them sleeping, like, they were fucking terrified. I mean, there were guys crying and pissing and shitting themselves, and they were fucking terrified. Most of them. There were a few of them that were pissed, and were eyeballing us, like we were the devil and whatever. But we just got the jump on them, and we had practiced diving and coming up completely stealthy. We had practiced fast roping on from the top, and for us it was like the fastest way we can do it without giving the fact away that we're coming to do it, i.e. via helicopter, is to get on the little 10-meter ribs, the rigid hold inflatable boats, and just haul ass up alongside and board it quick and just flood the target really fast and take it down.
Whoa.
Quick. So,
you zip tie all of them?
Yeah.
And then you brought them all back on the boat?
No, we left them there, took the whole thing down. We did. We did leave them there.
Sitting there like, fuck!
Yeah. We left them there, but we waited for the Marine Fast company to come, and then they had more in-depth interrogators and set up shop. And I don't know how long they stayed, but it took us about 7 hours or so to take the whole thing down. I mean, it was light by the time we were done taking it down, and then we jumped on another boat and went.
Wait, it took 7 hours to take the whole thing down, not including taking down the 30 though. That's pretty quick, no? Getting all 30 guys?
No, I mean, we got all 30 guys in probably 5 minutes.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah,
you're not lasting 7 hours trying to find, like, where are you, buddy? Like,
yeah. So the way that it's set up is, if you can imagine, it's like, imagine a 1,600 meter long row of scaffolding and railings and shit, where every couple hundred yards there's like a little guard shack looking station, and then there's different points at which tankers pull up next to, and then there's outlets from these pipes that they pipe the oil in. So the little stations are stations for the workers to onboard oil from those pipes, which is coming from the manifold metering station, i.e. mainland, onto the ships. So at one end is 3 or 4 tiered metal berthing and kitchens and housing and offices, and like all of the meat and potatoes was all in a building about the size of the building that we're in, like this whole building, so yeah, I mean, we flooded that and took it down really quick, and that's where all of them were. So, and
this is right before Operation Iraqi Freedom?
It was the start of it. It was like 2 days before we actually went across the border and went in country.
So is this like the first official mission of the Iraq War?
Yeah, we
like
for
literally?
Sure kicked it off. Yeah, it was the first thing, so, which was kind of neat to be a part of.
Okay, now you then took part in the actual going across the border then too. So how'd that go down?
So we went back to the Kuwaiti Naval Base, which is where we launched from, and then we ran up to Ali Asalim Air Force Base and loaded all of our shit up. We stole a green Air Force Humvee and hand painted it tan. To the best of our abilities, just loaded down 4 Humvees with, we hung body armor in the doors. Like, none of them were armored with bulletproof anything. Put rockets and ammo and MREs in water and just fucking gypsy wagoned it up across the border into Nasiriyah. The Marines had gotten to Nasiriyah, and that was the first significant resistance that they had encountered, where they were really taking heavies. They had established a main supply route through Nasiriyah, and then it was eventually going to go up into Baghdad. But that's Nasiriyah at that time, which is in the southern part of the country, was kind of where the front lines were. Because I don't know if you remember, I mean, how old were you in 2003?
9.
So probably not. The way it was supposed to work was half of our forces were coming up through Kuwait, and the other half were coming through the Med, and we're going to come down through Turkey. They're going to meet in Baghdad, north-south sandwich Baghdad. Well, at the last minute, Turkey said, no, you can't use our country. Go fuck yourself. And so okay, well, we're just going to go south to north and sweep all the way through the country. And we used half of our forces that we had originally planned. And so we were on that southern front anyway. So at that time, Nasiriyah was kind of the front lines, if you will. So we haul ass up there, and then we stayed put for a few weeks running counter ambush operations, basically, where that was really cool because you had kind of the nicety or the flexibility of the Wild West of there's no forward operating base. Like, it's just a fucking free for all, so there weren't many rules. But we also, we had just, basically the Marines, 15th MU set up, like they just built this berm complex, and we just threw tents up and stayed in a berm. They posted guys at each corner. And so we were running operations out of there, and we would just go get our own intelligence. We would kidnap dudes, or like you could tell, like we're getting ready to go across this bridge. One of their tactics was they would have 2 or 3 vehicles and pop all the hoods like they're having car trouble or whatever, and wait for you to stop, and then they would fucking ambush you or whatever. And so as soon as we saw that, we flanked them and went forward back, and all got out and swooped them, take them hostage, kidnap them, throw them in our vehicles, and take them back to base and interrogate them. And then we would use that intelligence that we would get right on the spot to then go find caches or go fuck shit up or whatever. So
how much are you guys making decisions for yourself as to what to do in the field versus like
100%?
100%.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically,
so you're not calling base like, oh,
there's none of that whatsoever. And that's what was cool about it, is it reminded me of all the stories in books that I had read on Vietnam, of when it's basically like, hey, some commander is like, okay, here is my sector. SEALs, this is your fucking grid coordinate. You stay in there, you go do whatever the fuck you want. And they would just go out, and patrol, trying to find shit, they get shot at, or they'd do recon by fire. I mean, they would do whatever they want. They'd just go ambush people. They would kidnap people. They would source and gather their intelligence however the fuck they wanted, and then they would act on it however they wanted. So you're really only developing your concept of operations for your immediate boss, who usually is going to be one of your guys, and is like, Yep. Just let me know if you need anything, And so it was awesome. So, we would hit train stations, we'd blow up, weapons caches. We would, mix it up a little bit here and there. At that time, the resistance, I wouldn't say is insignificant, but it was very tempered in that they didn't really know what to expect. So as soon as they saw us coming, like they might flood into an apartment complex, again, similar to here, and get in different windows and shoot a little bit. As soon as like we would start shooting back or sending grenades through windows or blowing vehicles up out in front or whatever, then they would just be like, fuck this, And at that time, it was the first time that UAVs were being used, handheld UAVs. And so we had a UAV operator with us, and it was fucking awesome because he's got this little screen, and we're in a Humvee. He's in the fucking moon roof and just launches it while we're driving, and it goes up. It's like 200 feet above, maybe 300 or 400 yards up in front of us. And now it's like, dude, we have the fucking playbook. We've got the eye in the sky. Like, we see that vantage point 300 yards ahead of everywhere we're going. So you're seeing dudes setting up and behind corners. Like, you can see everything. And obviously that's a huge advantage. But what was funny is that, a UAV that'll fit on this table at 200 feet in the sky looks like a fucking jet a mile up. And so they thought like they were about to get bombed. And so they'd start shooting at it and fucking running, like diving behind vehicles and they thought the world was ending, thinking like, oh, that's the first jet of like 10 of them that are coming to just bomb the shit out of us, not knowing that it's just a tiny little camera that's 200 feet above them. So they caught on fairly quick, as you can imagine. But even still, like they would try to shoot it down and usually couldn't. And so that helped us a lot. So, we kind of had to jump on everybody and utilize that for that several weeks.
Thank you for watching the video, guys. If you haven't already subscribed, please smash that subscribe button and check out this clip's full podcast episode by clicking here or in the description below.